Well, it's Bob Frizzell again for the reality game, and tonight I'm going to ask you a new question. How many people are interested in serrying around? Serrying is to go from one version of Earth to another. If you've ever considered the quantum field and the many worlds interpretation of that, it means that planet Earth is, well, it seems to all of us to be one thing. According to many worlds, it is multiplicities and multiplicities. And as you go from one version of your planet to another, that's a serry. How do you know if you've serried? Anytime you get a really weird feeling in yourself, it could be a serry, like very cold, or could be a flash of lights, could be power failures, could be any kinds of things like that. What does it mean to serry? Mostly it means that you are going to be changing timelines, and the timeline that you want to change to is obviously the best one for you, and that is the one where you have your dreams fulfilled. What else do you need to go about? I can't tell you. You individually get to go on your trip, and wherever it brings you, that is your doing. So it's good to know what it is that you really want to do, because when you see it, you'll know you're in the right timeline. It's DJ Uncle, and I'm going to talk not about anything in particular. I'm going to try to remind you that without anyone other than you, your world is pretty empty. And so, are you going to bring people with you wherever you're going, or are you going to meet them there? Pick a few that you really like, try and bring them with you, and the other ones that you're going to meet are going to be much more interesting than the ones in your past. The ones in your past are gone because they're not really fitting into what you need. More and more, we're considering help. In other words, looking for help from above and below. What kind of help? Getting us onto the right timeline, which is what Bob Frizzell just said, and what I'm continuing to remind you. Less is more. In other words, travel lightly, because the more things that you have that hold you down, they tend to lock you into your version of maybe not the perfect timeline. So what does that mean you have to get rid of? Well, appointments and forecasts. People keep coming up with forecasts, like, quantum events and things. These things don't ever seem to pass, and it seems like there's more bullshit on the internet than there's truth. Nevertheless, you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready, travel light, and keep watching for opportunities beyond anything that you've ever experienced before, because we're kind of programmed to believe that, our Earth and our city is basically the way it is. And believe it or not, there's going to be big changes coming on planet Earth. Some people have talked about what's known as the bifurcation, which is a split where you have ascending beings going one way, and regular old 3D humans staying where they are. If you want something new and exciting, you got to be a 5D kind of person. And to do that, you should read up on it. There's books, there's lots of YouTube videos, but as I said, there's a lot of bullshit that goes with it. So how are you going to separate the bullshit from the reality? Well, I don't think you're going to separate it. I think you're just going to experience what you're going to experience. When is this going to happen is always the biggest question. And it could happen tonight, or it could happen next week, or I don't know. It's mostly in the hands of what we usually call the divinity, And if you want to be in touch with the divinity, I always say meditate. The last part about Serrying is you have to become more and more someone like a being rather than a doing person. And what does that mean? That means letting go of all the desires. But I said something about here. What's your ideal thing? Yes, I know. But you have to let it go, because if you have desires unfilled, then you keep thinking about all these desires, they kind of push what you want away. So it's a lot of inner silence, meditation, and letting go.